In today's Money Watch, we're talking about the massive spike in rents and home prices across the country. And anyone who's looked to move in the past several months knows exactly what we're talking about. As of April, the average cost of rent has jumped more than 16% from the same time last year. And the price of homes has increased more than 34% over the past 2 years. We brought in CBS business analyst Jill Schlesinger to give us some advice on how to handle these situations. It is not pretty. What's going on here? I mean, this harkens back to like 2005, 6, right before something else happened.
You know, a lot of people have been asking me about this very question, like, wow, if prices are up almost 35% in 2 years, is this actually a housing bubble? Could we see something horrible happen? Things are different. So the good news is that banks haven't gone crazy lending to anybody with a heartbeat. And a lot of people are actually putting more money down to get a home because there have been these bidding wars. So it is daunting and it's tough, but I think from a housing bubble burst perspective, we're probably not looking at that. But I think price increases are going to slow down, and I do think there are some markets that might even see declines in the near term.
But why are they going up in the first place?
Why are they
So, you know, it is a supply and demand issue, right? So we know that coming into COVID, there weren't a lot of homes for sale. And this is actually an echo of the 2008-2009 crash, because all these builders put homes up and they got killed. They really needed to build more homes, but there was no financing. So we come in short of homes. COVID hits, and what happens? Boom, everybody says, get me out of my small space. I'm working from home.
Yes.
And they drive prices up. So it's been a supply and demand problem.
It seems everything is blamed on COVID. You know, it's COVID.
Yeah,
but say your lease is coming up and you're up for renewal. What are your options?
Well, I think this is an important moment, because when we talk about housing, that's one part of the economy, but renting is a lot of people, and a lot of people can't afford to buy a home, and they are facing these near 17% increases from a year ago. Now, let's put that in context for a second, because there's actually a weird COVID part of this too. During COVID, rents went down.
Yeah.
You can
so
see
now,
huge deals.
Right. And so that now a lot of landlords say to me, hey, I've got to catch up. Like, I had 2 years where I couldn't get this. So let's say your lease is coming up. First thing you actually want to do, go to your landlord. Say, I love it here. I want to stay here. I am a good payer. I'm so great. Okay, let's just say the landlord's like, well, too bad.
Too bad.
Yes. So that now you start to say, well, can I lock in a longer period of time for my lease? Instead of 1 year, maybe 2 years. Could you delay the increase maybe till later in the year? Maybe you're going to get some more money. Maybe you can get some appliances.
Are they open to that?
You know, a lot of them are, especially a lot of the smaller landlords, because they don't want to see turnover. Before you tell your landlord to, like, beat it with that, remember, it's expensive to move. So I would be very careful.
Even when you're buying, Jill, that idea of moving now or wait, and you play this game. I have friends who are doing it right now. What's the advice? Do you wait? Do you stay?
There's a really weird moment where we're in right now, because not only are prices high, but we also know mortgage rates have increased dramatically. So we were below 3% for a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. We're now above 5%. That's made the cost of ownership much higher, by more than about $6,300 for the median household in the median home. So that's a lot. So here's the deal. If you're going to buy, you still have to run the numbers. You're not off the hook. If you can afford higher mortgage rates, sure, you can make this work. I think that most people are dissuaded just because there aren't so many homes for sale, and it's just a bummer. You're going to spend your whole summer going to open houses over and over. I know it's tough, but again, look at that rent, because one of the adverse effects of inflation is rents can go up even more. So your fixed cost of housing is different than your variable cost for a rent.
I mean,
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you're talking about interest rates. I remember when 5% was a deal. And now
Yes.
we're talking about, but I mean, at some point with interest rates rising, do you see a cap?
Well, we are actually seeing a slowdown in housing activity. We got all this new data out in the last week on housing market numbers for existing and new homes. And definitely activity is slowing down, mortgage applications slowing down. But you're right. I mean, for a lot of households, 5% isn't so bad. And also, we know a lot of people who already own homes and they're trading, maybe they're trading up.
Yeah.
They're putting a lot of money down. They have got a lot of equity in their homes.
Right.
And when they make the move, they may not need such large mortgages. So that's a good thing. One last bit here. When you think about mortgages, remember in the bad old days when we were doing the housing crisis, we talked about adjustable rate mortgages, interest. Well, they're coming back.
Are they?
And because people are really freaking out that prices are up and I can't afford these fixed rates, I would be careful. Because remember, what is the lesson of the housing crisis of the 2000s? You don't get into a mortgage that you cannot afford over the long term. And those things can jump on you. So just be careful out there and maybe relax. Have a good summer.
I remember when I went to go buy my first house, I thought if you have the mortgage payment, you're good. And then they said, well, you have to have a deposit. I go, well, where am I supposed to get that from?
And they said, oh, you're not
supposed to have that?
Primary mortgage insurance and all the other things.
Do you have a mother and a father, ma'am?
Exactly.
Thank you, Jill.
Sure.
Thank you.